Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about how ebb and flow motion came to be. Summed up in 3 simple ideas: yoga mind, bodybuilding principles, and meditation in motion. For me, in its most basic sense, yoga mind embodies the ideas of mastery and detachment. Mastery is the concept that a person is always striving towards bettering themselves in any particular facet of their lives. It is the perspective of beginner mind versus expert mind. Someone with beginner mind is eager to learn, open to criticism, and aware that there is always more to know. A person claiming to have achieved expertise believes they know all there is to know in a particular subject matter. This mindset has a limiting capacity and navigates a person towards a dead end in the flow of knowledge. A recurring example of someone exhibiting expert mind is a person in pursuit of improving their fitness and changing their body through the practice of strength training alone. Do not get me wrong. Strength training is one of the key components of fitness. The problem is that this person could be making more efficient and dramatic improvements towards their goals if they were willing to open their mind to the idea that strength training is not the only beneficial component of fitness. Further investigation would lead this expert to realize that nutrition, cardiovascular training, and flexibility are equally important. With beginner mind, this realization would lead the person to explore the complexities of the other components of fitness they are not utilizing and put them to work. Mastery is a never-ending process where one strives towards constant improvement. Detachment is not the abandonment of knowledge, rather it is the abandonment of limiting beliefs. Attachment to limiting beliefs is more often than not the behavior that sabotages mastery. Think about the example I just gave. The person exhibiting expert mind clings to the belief that there is only one road of a finite distance available in the journey to reach their final destination. Introspection and a willingness to let go of beliefs that are not congruent with scientifically backed knowledge is the first step towards mastery. We also impose limiting beliefs on ourselves. The ego specializes in reminding and reinforcing our self-imposed limiting beliefs. How many times have you got caught up in negative self-talk that stops you in your tracks? I cannot. I'm not good enough. I would, but are just some of the phrases our ego burdens us with. Ego is also equally responsible for leading us to believe we should be the beneficiaries of certain entitlements. I should, I must, I want are some examples of how the ego motivates us towards some unnecessary or negative behaviors. Please understand, the ego is not all bad. It is responsible for keeping us fed, clothed, housed, and all other positive motivations that keep us alive. In addition, it helps us weave a positive network that enriches the fabric of our life. In regards to ego, detachment is the process of identifying the unnecessary fluctuations of the mind and just letting them go. In turn, this awareness will lessen personal suffering on our journey, help align focused intention with action, and keep the spotlight shining on what's truly important to us. Bodybuilding principles. Pose the question, what is the best way to add muscle and lose fat? And you'll get as many different answers as the amount of muscle builders you ask. There are many practices and routines that lead to success. However, they all embody several fundamental processes. To build muscle, you must first introduce a stimulus overload. The overload will signal the body to release hormones that will aid in future adaptation to the stimulus. Adaptation will occur when there is proper rest and nutrition. It's really that simple. The challenge is to orchestrate the process in such a manner that it is efficient, sustainable, and in alignment with your goals. Efficient bodybuilding is the practice of effectively introducing the appropriate stimuli for muscular adaptation in the least amount of time. Multi-joint or compound exercises are more efficient than single-joint exercises. A good example of a compound exercise that almost everyone is familiar with is the bench press. It primarily adds a stimulus to the chest, shoulders, and triceps at the same time in one exercise. In contrast, to introduce the same stimuli to those muscles using single joint exercises, one would have to perform 3 times as many sets. That is not to say that single joint exercises do not have their place in training. It is merely a comparison that exemplifies efficiency. When adaptation plateaus through the course of training, single joint exercises are appropriate, although a more time-consuming method, of adding stimuli to a particular muscle group. Your body may seem indestructible now, but at some point, you will be held accountable for all of the inappropriate transgressions you impose upon it. Sustainable muscle building not only takes into account your ability to maintain the rigors of a specific routine, but also the consequences of the efforts exuded on your body in the future. What good is your best PR at 20 if you wake up in agony every day after 40? Sustainable muscle building focuses on the bigger picture and is the embodiment of the idea of detachment. It begs to ask, how much do I really need to lift to attain my goals? Are my goals realistic, necessary, or in alignment with my abilities? Are the motivations to risk my future health genuine or ego-driven? The answers to these questions don't come easily, but there is a guru to whom you should listen. Your guru is your body. If your body alerts you to the signs that you are in a state of injury, then listen to it. Lifting weights or exercising simply because you can tolerate the pain of training is not a valid argument to perpetuate injury or cripple your future. And finally, that brings us to meditation and motion. Meditation is the practice of training the mind. In the context of describing ebb and flow motion, it is the practice of mindfully imposing your will to attain appropriate goals and filter out the negativity that the ego strives to impose. Meditation is a practice of mastery that is a never-ending challenge. The good thing is that with practice, you will continually get better at it. Its form is not singular, rather it is a culmination of different disciplines that can be used alone or in conjunction with one another. Some examples of meditative practice include mindfulness, breath control, mantras, bodily control, movement patterns, and body alignment. The goal is to live in a meditative state, fully immersed and invested in every moment, otherwise known as presence. When presence is applied to the aspects of your training, your efforts will give yields beyond expectation. The process of appropriate nutrition and training becomes effortless as you meditate on the moment instead of the outcome. When the aesthetic outcomes and scale weights become nothing more than a nice side effect of your practice, you'll know that you're on the right path. These ideas are the culmination of more than 20 years of bodybuilding, 10,000 plus hours of training clients, and an extensive yoga practice. If you would like to learn more, then please visit my site,